Every single day, your brain produces over 70,000 thoughts. And here's the real kicker. Research shows that more than 90% of those thoughts are exactly the same as the day before. That means if yesterday you felt anxious, insecure, or stuck, there's a good chance you're mentally reliving the past today, whether you're aware of it or not. Now imagine what that does to your body, your health, your emotions, and your future. It's like replaying the same mental program over and over again, expecting a different result. But what if, just what if, you could break that cycle? What if you could rewire your brain, heal your body, and step into a completely new version of yourself? Not 10 years from now, but starting today. That's exactly what becoming supernatural is about, and not in a vague, mystical way. This is science. This is biology. And it's backed by brain scans, heart data, blood chemistry, and real-life transformations. Before we dive deeper, let's meet the man behind the message. Dr. Joe Dispenza is not your typical spiritual guru. He's a neuroscientist, chiropractor, and researcher who gained global recognition after a near-death experience changed the course of his life. In 1986, during a triathlon, he was hit by an SUV while cycling. His spine was fractured in multiple places, and doctors told him he would never walk again. Surgery seemed like the only option, but Joe made a radical decision. He chose to heal himself using only the power of his mind. For weeks, lying face down, he visualized his spinal vertebrae knitting back together, cell by cell. After 10 weeks, not only was he walking again, but he was back to work. That event didn't just heal his body, it reshaped his purpose. He became obsessed with one question: can thoughts alone change our physical reality? Since then, Dr. Joe has traveled the world conducting workshops, studying brainwave patterns, and helping people heal from terminal illnesses, depression, trauma, and chronic pain. Not through medicine, but through meditation, intention, and energy alignment. Now, let's begin the journey of becoming supernatural. Imagine this. You wake up one morning and realize that nothing in your life truly feels alive anymore. You're breathing, moving, working, but inside you're just surviving. The thoughts you think today feel eerily similar to yesterday's. You check your phone, you drink your coffee, you brace yourself for another predictable day. But then something whispers, what if life wasn't meant to be this way? That moment, that quiet flicker of awareness, is where the story of becoming supernatural begins. Most of us live life the same way. We wake up in the same bed, follow the same routine, think the same thoughts, and feel the same emotions we've been recycling for years. We define ourselves by what we can see: our job title, our bank account, our relationships, our health, our past. We say things like, I'm just not lucky, or that's just the way I am. But Dr. Joe Dispenza asks, what if who you think you are is just a memory? What if your entire personality, your habits, your beliefs, your fears, is simply a program? And what if you had the power to rewrite it? That question isn't spiritual fluff. It's neuroscience. And Joe Dispenza learned this not in a lab, but flat on his back, broken and nearly paralyzed. In 1986, Joe was competing in a triathlon when he was hit by an SUV. His spine was shattered in multiple places. The doctors told him he might never walk again. Surgery was necessary, risky, invasive, and uncertain. But Joe made an extraordinary decision. He refused the surgery. Instead, he decided to heal himself, using nothing but the power of his mind. Lying still for hours each day, he visualized each vertebra fusing back into place, every nerve restoring itself, every cell responding. At first he failed. His thoughts would drift. His doubt would take over. But after 6 weeks, something shifted. He started seeing the healed version of himself clearly. His mind aligned with that future. And in just 10 weeks he was walking again, not just walking but living proof that the mind can heal the body. This wasn't a miracle. It was a method. One that anyone could learn. Let's go back to you, sitting in your room wanting change. You wonder why things never truly shift. Dr. Joe explains that most people live in a feedback loop. Thoughts create emotions. Emotions confirm those thoughts. Thoughts lead to the same choices. Those choices lead to the same experiences. And the experiences reinforce the original beliefs. This loop becomes your personality. And your personality creates your personal reality. So if 90% of who you are is just a series of unconscious patterns, then no matter how badly you want to change, your body will keep pulling you back into the past. Your heart races at the thought of risk. Your stomach tightens at the idea of rejection. Your inner dialogue whispers, stay safe. Stay the same. Dr. Joe calls this living in survival. And he explains it like this. When you're constantly stressed, worried, or angry, your body is preparing for a threat that doesn't exist. You're stuck in fight or flight mode. Your body floods with cortisol and adrenaline, your brain narrows its focus, and your creativity shuts down. You can't dream in survival. You can't heal. You can't grow. You're too busy trying to stay safe. But what's even more dangerous? You get used to it. The chemicals of stress become familiar. The emotions of fear, guilt, and shame become your identity. So even when life gets better, you don't feel better. Because your body is addicted to the emotions of the past. Here's where the story turns. Science now confirms what mystics have said for centuries. You can change. Fully. Deeply. Biologically. And here's how. Neuroplasticity. Your brain is not hardwired. Every thought you think strengthens or weakens a neural connection. You can literally rewire your thoughts, reactions, and focus by consciously choosing new mental patterns. Epigenetics. Your genes are not fixed. Your environment, including your emotional environment, can turn genes on or off. That means how you feel can change your biology. Quantum physics. At the smallest level, reality is not solid. It's energy. You are energy. Your thoughts and feelings create frequencies. These frequencies don't just bounce around inside you, they interact with the field of possibilities around you. This field, the quantum field, is where your future already exists. So how do you access this field? How do you tune into a new future? Meditation. But not the sit still and think about nothing kind. Dr. Joe teaches transformational meditation, the kind that shifts your state of being. Here's the secret. When you meditate, you step away from your identity. You become no one, in no place, at no time. And in that space, you are finally free. Free from the pain of your past. Free from the fear of your future. Free to become someone new. That's where change happens. Now here's where it gets even more fascinating. We always think the brain runs the show. But Dr. Joe proves that the heart leads the transformation. When you feel elevated emotions, gratitude, joy, compassion, your heart rhythm becomes coherent. That means smooth, harmonious, and stable. This rhythm sends a powerful signal to your brain, telling it, we're safe. Let's grow. Heart-brain coherence activates healing chemicals, boosts your immune system, and creates a state where manifestation becomes possible. And guess what? It's not hypothetical. It's measurable, with heart monitors, brain scans, hormone levels, and real-time data. Here's the most empowering idea in the book. You don't have to wait for life to change before you feel better. You must feel better to change your life. That's the quantum model of reality. In the Newtonian model, life works like this: cause-effect. You get the promotion, then you feel successful. You heal, then you feel grateful. But in the quantum model, it works the other way around. You feel successful and you attract the promotion. You feel grateful and your body begins to heal. Because energy, not matter, creates outcomes. Dr. Joe says, you have to feel the emotions of your future before it arrives. When you do this, you're no longer a victim of your environment. You're the creator of it. Imagine this. You've been meditating for weeks. You've practiced stillness. You've felt glimpses of peace. But there's one thing still blocking your transformation: your body's addiction to the past. Your mind may want a new future, but your body still remembers old emotions: stress, heartbreak, fear. To break free from this emotional memory, Dr. Joe introduces a powerful technique: the breath. But this isn't ordinary deep breathing. This is energy movement. Here's how it works. You inhale with force, drawing energy up from the base of your spine through each energy center, like pulling a thread through your body. You hold your breath while lifting the pelvic floor and tightening your core. Then you slowly exhale and relax. What's happening? You're building pressure in the spinal column, pushing cerebrospinal fluid upward into the brain. As this fluid compresses the pineal gland, it stimulates the release of powerful neurotransmitters, like serotonin, melatonin, and even natural DMT. This practice doesn't just relax you. It can launch you into heightened awareness, a state where time disappears, light pulses behind your eyes, and you feel connected to something far beyond the physical world. This is awakening, and it starts with breath. Let's dive into a practice Dr. Joe is famous for: blessing of the energy centers. In ancient traditions, these centers were called chakras. But in Dr. Joe's work, they are treated as scientific energy hubs, clusters of nerves, hormones, and consciousness that store our emotional history. Each center, from the base of the spine to the crown of the head, represents a level of awareness: survival, creativity, willpower, love, expression, intuition, a divine connection. When trauma, stress, or suppressed emotions get trapped in these centers, energy becomes blocked. You might feel exhausted, anxious, or even sick, and never know why. But through focused meditation, you can send attention and emotion into each center. This is where the blessing begins. You place your awareness on one center at a time. You breathe into it. You feel elevated emotions, gratitude, joy, love. You imagine that center lighting up, balancing, expanding. You move from one to the next all the way to the top. And slowly you begin to feel different. Not because something changed out there, but because you changed in here. Your energy becomes coherent. Your body begins to trust you. Your cells start to believe in a new reality. This is how you prepare the body for the supernatural. Now let's talk about something mysterious and measurable. The pineal gland, also called the third eye. It sits deep in the brain between the hemispheres, shaped like a tiny pine cone. It's light sensitive. It secretes melatonin. And when activated, it can open you to experiences that defy logic, but feel more real than anything in waking life. Dr. Joe discovered that when the pineal gland is stimulated through breathwork and meditation, it begins to act like an antenna, picking up frequencies from the quantum field. Participants in his workshops have reported seeing intense colors and geometric patterns, hearing sounds that don't exist in the physical world, feeling themselves dissolve into pure awareness. Having emotional releases so powerful, diseases vanish days later. The body doesn't know the difference between a mystical experience and a real one. So when the brain is flooded with gamma waves and the pineal releases bliss chemicals, healing begins. You don't need drugs or external substances. You need alignment between your breath, brain, body, and belief. Now picture this. You're sitting in meditation, visualizing the life you desire, not as something you hope for, but as something you're already living. You feel the emotions of that reality. You feel successful, free, loved, grateful. You're not thinking from lack. You're thinking from abundance. This is Dr. Joe's secret sauce. You must feel the emotion of the future before it happens. Why? Because the quantum field doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are being. Your thoughts are electric. Your emotions are magnetic. Together they create a signal, a broadcast that draws your future toward you. When this signal is clear, coherent, and repeated daily, your life begins to reorganize itself. Synchronicities appear. Random opportunities show up. Healing accelerates. You don't force it. You tune into it. Like a radio dial, you don't build the station. You just align with its frequency. By now you might be thinking, this sounds amazing, but is it real? That's the best part of this story. It's not just real, it's measurable. Dr. Joe's workshops are like high-tech labs. Participants wear EEG caps, HRV monitors, and even undergo blood tests before and after. The data shows participants move from high-stress beta brainwaves to powerful gamma states. Cortisol levels, stress hormone, drop dramatically. IgA levels, immune marker, skyrocket after meditations. Thousands of documented remissions, from cancer, thyroid disease, fibromyalgia, chronic pain, depression. And here's the kicker. Many of these people weren't spiritual seekers. They were doctors, teachers, engineers, mothers, ordinary people who decided to become extraordinary. They didn't just think their way out. They felt their way through. At some point, the journey leads to this question. If you're no longer defined by your problems, your pain, or your past, then who are you? Dr. Joe calls this the identity shift. When you no longer wake up and remember your trauma, when your body no longer aches with old emotion, when your mind no longer fixates on limitation, you are free to reinvent yourself. Not from ego, but from essence. You are not your name, job, or role. You are not the victim of your past. You are not even your body. You are awareness capable of choosing a new version of you over and over again. This is not a one-time event. It's a daily decision. Will I live as my future self, or will I fall back into the familiar past? Once you've touched this power, the final step is embodiment. It's easy to meditate in a peaceful room, but the real work begins when life gets messy. When someone criticizes you, do you respond as the old you, or the future you? When fear creeps in, do you shrink back, or lean into trust? When things don't go your way, do you react with frustration, or stay aligned with gratitude? Dr. Joe reminds us that the ultimate proof of change is not what happens during meditation. It's how you walk through your day. You are not trying to get somewhere. You are learning to be someone, a person who lives with intention, emotion, and presence. This is the art of becoming supernatural. Before we end, let's quickly revise what this book has taught us, step by step. These aren't just ideas, they're tools to transform your inner world and outer life. 1. Your thoughts shape your reality. What you repeatedly think creates your emotional state. and that emotional state wires your brain and body to stay the same. If you want a new life, you must begin with new thoughts, consciously and intentionally. 2. Your body is addicted to the past. Most people aren't living in the present, they're just emotionally reacting to their past again and again. Stress, trauma, guilt, these feelings become normal. But you can recondition your body to feel the emotions of your desired future instead. 3. Change is possible through science. Neuroplasticity lets you rewire your brain. Epigenetics proves your genes respond to your emotions. Quantum physics shows you are energy, not just matter. All of this means you're not stuck. You're programmable by you. 4. Meditation is a rewiring tool, not just relaxation. Meditation is where you disconnect from your environment, identity, and past, and connect to the field of possibility. It's where your future is created, not through thinking but through being. 5. Elevated emotions equals healing and manifestation. When you feel gratitude, love, joy, and freedom, your body releases healing chemicals and your energy becomes magnetic. You don't wait to be happy after things change. You feel it before, and that's how things change. 6. Heart-brain coherence is the key. When the heart and brain are aligned, in rhythm and emotion, the body enters a healing state. You feel clear, connected, and calm. Coherence is measurable, trainable, and essential for transformation. 7. Breathwork moves energy upward. Using focused breath, you can break the body's addiction to survival emotions. Breath pulls energy up through the energy centers, awakens the pineal gland, and shifts you into higher states of consciousness. 8. Your pineal gland unlocks mystical experience. You don't need substances to access altered states. With the right breath and frequency, your pineal gland releases chemicals that give rise to visions, downloads, and even spontaneous healing. 9. You create in the quantum field through frequency. Your thoughts are electric. Your emotions are magnetic. Together, they create your personal signal, the frequency you send into the quantum field. That frequency determines what you attract. 10. You must live as your future self now. You don't become supernatural by just meditating once. You must walk, talk, feel, and decide every day as the version of you that already lives your desired reality. This is where true transformation becomes permanent. 11. Real people are doing the uncommon. Thousands of people, from all walks of life, are healing their bodies, changing their identities, and rewriting their lives using the practices in this book. If they can do it, so can you. 12. You are not ordinary, you are energy. You are not your name, your past, or your pain. You are consciousness, energy, and potential. And you have the power to become supernatural, starting right now. Let's step back for a moment. You started this journey looking for answers. Maybe for healing. Maybe for clarity. Maybe for freedom. And what you discovered is that the power you were searching for was never outside of you. It was in your breath, in your attention, in your heart. You don't have to be special. You don't need years of training. You don't have to escape to the mountains. You just have to decide. I will no longer live from the memories of the past. I will live from the energy of my future. Thank you.